All right, so welcome to the weekly accountability call. It's Monday, September the 19th, and tonight's call is going to be about fitness and longevity with fitness, because I think the thing that I see a lot of times with people is I even had this conversation with one of my brand new clients that just signed up last week. And, she's like, she actually is an old client, and I wish that she had told me, but, hopefully she doesn't mind that I'm not going to name names. So hopefully she doesn't mind that I out her here. But we had a phone call after, she texted me and said, hey, is there still spots in your September boot camp? I really want to join, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yes, of course. But she's an old boot camper. She's somebody who was with me probably 2 or 3 years ago. And then got pregnant, decided she didn't want to be a part of the boot camp. Sorry, that's my alien spaceship. If you heard it in the background, my commercial refrigerator that's very loud in my house. And so anyways, we hop on the phone and I'm like, yeah, I'm talking to her and I'm like, but you've done this before, the shtick, right? Beachbody on demand, my boot camp, my accountability, it's like if one of you guys left and then came back a year later, nothing's changed. We still do meal plans, we still do accountability, we still do fitness. It's not really not a whole lot of novelty in getting healthy, right? This is just kind of what it is. And she was like, yeah, but here's the deal, Danielle. She's like, do you remember when I signed up, she did, what was it? T20. So however long ago that was, I guess, that was 4 years ago. T20, which is the 20-minute Shaun T step aerobics thing. She's like, yeah, I did T20. And that's all I did. I hung out in your boot camp. I logged accountability half-heartedly. And then I kind of stopped logging accountability and I cut off my Shaco and I said that I couldn't do this anymore, for whatever reason. I don't remember the reason she gave me at the time. She's like, then I got pregnant. And she's like, that was literally the one and the only program that I've done in 4 years. And it got me to thinking, she and I were talking about accountability and just that really more than anything, it's all a mindset, right? Yes, a program is specifically built. So Beachbody super trainers are incredibly highly trained fitness trainers. They've got all kinds of NSAM or whatever they're called certifications. They've been training people for years and years. They're not picking up people off of YouTube and being like, oh, you're cute, hop in our Beachbody on demand, right? These people know what they're doing. And so they develop a fitness program, and the fitness programs are typically, what do we have? 21 days, I think 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. And then I think we go into the 90-day program and 100, morning meltdown 100 kind of thing. And so they're measured increments. Do you know why we do that? Because we're stupid humans. And we need a measurement block of time, right? We need to be able to, and also it's kind of a sales technique as well, right? If something has a time limit, we think, okay, I can do this for X amount of time. And we mark off our squares on the calendar and we're very proud of ourselves and we give ourselves our little ego pat on the back and we feel good, right? And we're like, yes, I did that program. I think Michelle, you said you've been doing this for 4 years. Next month, I think you signed up in October, I remember. And you and I and Carrie and a couple of the other coaches that have been around for a while, at one point counted up how many programs we've done, right? I don't remember how many I've done, but it's a lot. 23 is where you're at, 23. I think, yeah, I have no idea what mine is, but I'm sure it's more than 23 because I've been doing it for 6 years, or 8 years, I mean. And so those all feel really good. But what Beachbody kind of sneaks in the side entrance, and what I hope that we develop as human beings, is that this isn't the length of a program, right? My new client who came in, who did T20, which I think is a 4-week program, and then disappeared off the face of the earth and never did anything again, did not change her mindset toward fitness. And I think that's where we need to work on that mindset switch. And, I feel like I'm kind of preaching to the choir here a little bit with Michelle and Amy, because both of them have acquired this desire to continue fitness no matter what that looks like, right? I know both of you are committed to like, okay, I'm doing lift more and I'm going to see this through and I'm going to finish it, or I'm doing 645, or I'm doing, 4-week control or 9-week control freak or whatever it is. Like, and then immediately Amy gets toward the end of a program. Like you just finished what, punching. Why am I 10 rounds? There we go. 10 rounds. Thank you. And I think about the last week, she texts me, hey, on my last week of 10 rounds, what's next, coach? And I tell her what I think is next for her. Michelle runs a fitness and health business, just like I do a coaching practice. And so, our revolving door of programs typically exists around what the new product launch is, right? Like if we're going to make a business out of this and Beachbody is the vehicle that's going to do that, typically we decide like, okay, either this is a program that aligns with my fitness goals, or it's not. And if it is, then I do the new program launch. And if it's not, then I, like Michelle right now is doing a second round of Lift More because she's found her heart and soul and passion in lifting. Well, what happens is though all of that, like I said, lends itself to, if you're not careful, a mindset of checking the block and I'm just done. And I may want to make sure that, yes, we 100% are in agreement that we're going to continue fitness no matter whether Beachbody is a company or not. Like I feel like all three of us would, if Beachbody all of a sudden went away, which it's not, but like I feel like they've done nothing but double down on the incredible programs that they're launching. But if all of a sudden poof, it went away, we would figure out a way. I mean, I will tell you, I'd take a good 2-day, 3-day break. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I'd be like, oh yes, workouts. And then I'd be like, okay, no, this doesn't work for me. And I would figure out a way, I'd go and I'd throw sticks around in the backyard or something, or flip tires, who knows? But, we would continue on that. And so I want to make sure that no matter what, we're constantly looking forward to what is next. And more than what is next, where is my body right now? And what do I need to be doing in response to where my body is right now? And that's kind of the evolution of that journey. It's like, okay, you've graduated to that next level of not being tied, like your fitness journey isn't tied to a specific number of weeks or a number of days or a means to an end, right? You are committed to fitness for life. The next evolution of that is, where is my body? Getting in touch with what do I need in my journey? And Michelle, you kind of hit on it when you were talking about like, I, kind of stagnated with my weight loss. I got into this for weight loss. I stagnated with my weight loss. And now I've gotten to a point where my mindset and my heart and soul is, how heavy can I lift? And that question of what's next and where is your body is as individual as our fingerprints. Like my journey is not your journey. It's not Amy's journey. It's not Michelle's journey. It's not anybody's journey outside of you it's not even your spouse's journey. And I think sometimes when your fitness is linked with your spouse's, because I have a lot of boot campers that come in and they do programs with their spouse. And then all of a sudden the program's done and their spouse is like, well, my husband has done Lift 4, God, like 7,000 times. The man loves 645 or not 645. What is it? The work, 6 weeks of the work. And I guess 645 because Walla does that too. And Lift More and Lift 4. Like that's all he does. He just rotates through those programs. Well, guess what? Danielle's body has a hormonal cycle. Danielle's body's got a whole lot of other stuff going on with it that might need a different kind of attention than what my husband does. So I have to figure out, and doing that, listen to my body. So I do I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Marco Polo, but I have 2 really good friends that I've met through coaching that we Marco Polo constantly all day long. We started coaching around the same time and we've just kind of built our businesses alongside one another. And we were having this discussion last week because all 3 of us are in very different places fitness wise. And because when we started this, we all just did the programs that were launched, right? Like the Beachbody's getting ready to launch. It's called Sculpt and Sweat. It's a hybrid bar program where it's like kind of dance fitness with bar mixed in and very Pilates like. It's a really cool workout. And like if this was 4 years ago, we all would have been gearing up for the launch of XB. But the way fitness program launches have evolved throughout the years, and the way that we have evolved as human beings and getting in touch with who we are and what our body needs, we also need to be listening to what that is. And I think as you graduate further and further into your fitness journey, you learn how to listen to your body. And I think if I can, again, I said this last week and I'll say it again, like if I can put myself out of business, I want it to be because you learned how to listen to your body. You learned how to intuitively know my body needs or can handle this. My body is not in a place where I need to be pushing that hard, that fast right now. Jen's main thing right now is she's lifting 4 days a week and she's doing long extended walks because that's what her body can do and can handle. And that's what she feels best doing. It's not that she doesn't try to do other things. It's not that she's mentally holding herself back. She's at a place where she knows what is good for her body and what her body is responding to. Her body is achieving the goals that she wants to achieve, which right now that's weight loss and upper body strength. And it feels good. The joints aren't achy. She doesn't feel yucky in her gut. She wakes up excited to do her workouts. Those are the kind of things and the indicators that we need to start tuning into in our body of, whoa, what is the difference between muscle soreness because I exerted myself and muscle fatigue and joint fatigue? And there's lots of different things that your body is going to kind of cry out and say, whoa, 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 this, we've done enough of this thing, and so it's time to switch it up. The nice thing, and part of the reason why I aligned myself with Beachbody from the very get-go was that they have an overabundance, almost to the detriment sometimes of Beachbody, an overabundance of fitness programs. You can literally like scroll for hours on there. It's kind of like Netflix. You can fall down the rabbit hole. But the wonderful thing about it is there's literally any kind of workout that you feel like would be the right thing for your body. We have an answer for that. And I think that that's where the advent of this Beachbody On Demand interactive platform has really cranked it up another notch, is that we have the opportunity to develop new programs on a daily basis. And that's kind of where, I feel like as we evolve as a company, as we evolve as people who are doing these programs and getting results, and our goals are shifting and our mindset is shifting, and we're kind of moving along through the evolution of our fitness journey, we want that access at our fingertips. We want to be able to say, I've done this 8-week lifting program and I saw amazing results, and now my body needs to shift into a recovery period. And so maybe we're going to put on, some bike rides. We're going to put on some more lower impact kind of workouts. And that's the sort of thing that I feel like I've said this several times, but as you evolve through your fitness journey, you start tuning in to what your body is suited for, in that moment. And I think that that's, obviously we have the resources at that, but I kind of wanted to just touch on that today because I feel like the conversations that I'm having behind the scenes are very geared toward either what's next, or I've done this, I wiped my hands, I'm finished. I finished week 8 of Lift More, and now I'm all done. Now I'll just go back to the way my life was before. And, we all know that that's a diet mindset, and that's not really all you're going to do is end up 8-12 weeks from now feeling crappy again. It's that cycle. I got into a conversation recently about just some behaviors that I see of other fitness influencers online and the way that they choose to run their business, where basically their goal is, how do I get really bomb before and after photos? And then, 2 weeks later, the next program starts up and they've got a before photo that looked just like their before photo from the last time, because all that they're doing it for a means to an end. And I feel like for us, and the legacy that I want to leave, and the thing that I want to impart to everybody that comes into Team Nourished, is that while yes, your weight is not going to constantly, and Amy and I have had this conversation lots and lots of times, and I feel like, Michelle, you're kind of at this spot too, where you're like, maybe my weight was creeping up and I came into this to lose weight. We know that your weight loss journey is not going to look like, a 200-pound start point and then just a nice little gentle sloping downhill, right? Like even one of my favorite nutritionists, Alana, that partnered with Beachbody, she has this cute little graphic, or it's not really cute, but this graphic of what, like, if you zoom way out and you look at a year or 2 years in a snapshot, it does look like this. It's a nice, gentle slope, right? We're all just like, look at us. We've lost the weight. We've gotten to a comfortable place in our body where it feels good. And we feel like we're at an ideal body weight kind of thing. But then she like zooms in really close. And what you see is it looks more like this. And then there's like a long line, and then down, 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 down. And I think that that's such a beautiful picture of what really happens. And it's interesting how I talk to a lot of my boot campers, and they'll get discouraged because they had a hard week or something and their weight ticked up a little bit. And I'm like, the discouragement is what's going to keep it ticking up. If you could just, and we talk a lot about that, right? Like the rebound time. If you can just make that rebound time really fast, that the weight ticking up and down, like your weight fluctuates. And this is, kind of an interesting factoid. Your weight can fluctuate up to 7 pounds in a day. Like if you were to weigh yourself at hourly increments, you can literally weigh 7 pounds difference throughout the day because of water retention, because of density of food, because of hormonal shifts, because of, I think about the Lift More girls. When we were in our 8-week cycle of boot camp, I had a conversation with Vicky, who you guys know well. And she's like, oh my God, I stepped on the scale and I'm, up 3 pounds. And I've been doing this for, I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks. No, not even. Maybe it was like 2 or 3 weeks at the time. And I'm like, here's the deal, Vicky. You are building a lot of volume in that muscle. Guess what happens I'm assuming you guys know this, but I'll just share it just in case somebody doesn't know it. When you exercise a muscle, what it does is it tears the shreds of that muscle. And how you get stronger is your body uses protein and amino acids and all kinds of other chemicals to rebuild stronger. And so then you work out, it tears it a little more. There are these little micro tears. It heals, it gets stronger, you tear it. Like that's literally how you build a bigger muscle. There's some really cool, like little YouTube videos for kids about it that I've showed my kids. They're like, that's so cool. I'm like, I know. But guess what that takes? It takes water and it takes fuel. And guess what those two things are probably going to lead to on the scale? It being up. And so getting discouraged because your weight is up by, how many ever, pounds or whatever, when you know that you're plugging in your workouts, right? You know that you're pushing your hardest, you know that you're drinking your water, and you know that you're eating within your meal plan. Guess what? You're probably fine. Like it's really, really rare if you're doing the right, well, air quote, right, the right things, that the results aren't on the way. You just need to kind of give it some patience. And I get it. Like nobody likes to see the anti-progress kind of markers. But the reality is our bodies were not meant to stay the exact same weight at all times. It just, we're living beings, and I think that was one of the things that when I was transitioning out of that diet mindset, that was kind of like an aha moment for me, was your food has density and your food has weight, and different foods have different weights. And when you put them inside of your body, they're going to weigh different things. Like it really, when you kind of open your eyes up to that, you're like, oh, that's why I feel heavier when I've had a physically heavy meal. Well, yeah, even if that meal was not super loaded with fat or super loaded with carbs or super loaded with whatever, it just is a physically denser product. Your body is going to feel differently, and that may result on different things on the scale. And so I think, if I can go back to the whole purpose of the content of this call, it's to learn how to listen to your body and use logical interpretations for what's going on and responding in a kind of responding accordingly. You need to learn how to listen to your body in all kinds of ways. We've talked about the 5 different kinds of hunger and evaluating those, and really stop leading from a feeling and leading more from the habits that support the goals that you have. And just know, kind of to wrap this content piece up, just know that your goals are going to shift and your goals are going to change. And there's nothing wrong with certain seasons of your life being a maintenance phase of your fitness journey. It's a journey for a reason. And so sometimes you're going to be in a season of maintenance, and that is okay. I think because we have fitness related goals or health related goals, we think that we constantly have to be on this trajectory. Like I said, if your goal is weight loss, I constantly have to be on this trajectory that my weight is just going to continue to go down no matter what. Or Michelle with strength gains, I think the trip up there is, if my goal is to continue to lift heavier every single day, I should be lifting heavier. And if I'm not lifting heavier every single day, day by day or week by week, then things are not going right. But what we have to understand is that it's an evolution and a process. And sometimes, and I feel like the nice thing about Lift More was that being an 8-week program, you really got to see that, right? So like at week 4, you started getting to a place where you did have to drop some weight because we've been lifting heavy for 4 weeks in a row now. The same thing at week 8, the end of week 7, beginning of week 8, a lot of people experienced I physically can't lift the same thing I was lifting at week 6. Well, yeah, because you've been tearing apart those muscles over and over and over and over for 6 weeks, and you've got to give yourself a little bit of recovery time. And so I love that the way our programs are built, it gives us the flexibility to move through our fitness journey with a little more grace than discouragement kind of thing. So, all right. Well, we are about to wrap up anyway. Michelle, thank you for hopping on. I am going to